Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about Gregorian chant and what exactly Gregorian chant means. Gregorian chant is a blanket term that describes a centuries-long tradition of sung, liturgical, and scriptural text. As we get going here, let's start with a couple of terms that will be helpful as we look at the history of sacred music. So Gregorian chant is monophonic, mono meaning one, and phonic meaning sound. So it's only a single melody. Monophonic music is in contrast to music that is polyphonic. So poly meaning multiple. So two or more independent voices sounding at the same time. Polyphony sounds like this. Our third term is homophony or homophonic, meaning two or more voices singing together in harmony, but largely in the same rhythm. Gregorian chant is preserved in liturgical prayer books called antiphonales. These are collections of liturgical texts organized and arranged by where they fit into the liturgical calendar. Today, we call antiphonales the Roman Missal, which contains all the prayers for liturgical celebrations throughout the year. In the early church, each metropolitan area assembled antiphonales that are unique to their cultural contexts. We have snippets of these books from Jerusalem dating back to the 5th century. In the 4th and 5th centuries, monasticism has also really started to flourish. Many of these monks become clericalized, meaning they also become priests, and they begin to participate in both monastic, with their individual religious communities, and cathedral, the church in the city's liturgical celebrations on a regular basis. As a result, over the course of several hundred years, there's a synthesis that occurs in the liturgy between these monastic and cathedral practices. This, of course, also happens with liturgical music. Religious communities, as well as cathedrals, are constantly producing materials for the liturgy that are stylistically distinctive based on their own customs. Gregorian chant becomes the dominant stylistic musical form in the Western Church, but this was the result of many centuries of development. As I said before, each repertoire develops within a specific communal context. But as Christianity spreads and the largest metropolitan centers become more influential, musical traditions are consolidated into two main traditions, Orthodox and Roman Catholic. The Roman Catholic singing tradition develops out of a synthesis of the Roman, Gallican, and Frankish singing repertoires around the time of Charlemagne. Gregorian chant is notated using musical signs called neumes. This notation developed again over time, but at first, this notation started out simply by showing whether the melody went up or down from the previous notes. This was a kind of shorthand guide to performance that relied heavily on an oral familiarity with the musical style. During the 11th to the 13th centuries, this system of notation becomes more formalized. There's a desire among musicians to standardize and improve the teaching and performance of Gregorian chant, which results in the invention of the musical staff. In modern music, we read from a musical staff that has 5 lines. But in Gregorian chant, we read the notation on a 4-line staff. For the most part, this notation can really only capture the melodic content of each melody, which means we have a less clear understanding of how rhythm was used and understood. Thank you for watching this brief video on Gregorian chant. In our next video, we'll look a little more specifically at the ordinary, or the order of Mass, and how this shaped the development of Renaissance polyphony in the 14th to 16th centuries.